Hi, I just saw this post recently on Facebook. I'm going to drop it here right now. What it said was simply an entire generation is studying for jobs that won't exist in the future, which is so true. And I'm shocked to realize that nobody is knowing this fact from the education institutes to the people to the parents. None of these people are even understanding what the future is. And that statement, is so accurate in every sense, right? Another 5 to 10 years time, the entire world as we know it is going to be completely different, and AI is going to control the better part of it. And how do we train the current generation, right? The students today who are going to come out, right? They are learning something that is completely irrelevant for the future, right? What they should be focusing is actually called a area called cognitive analysis, cognitive thinking, right? Cognitive rationale, right? That's what they should be focusing on, right? Because our current model, right, our current model as kids go and study is actually a knowledge download model. So what you have is that you have this big set of knowledge: history, English, mathematics, models, science, various things, and they learn all these things and they download that information. So let's say a student learns mathematics and they become a scientist. So one day when they go into their career, what they are doing is they are downloading that knowledge into their brain, processing it, and then getting a certain output, right? So this of course expands as you go into the professional scales. Fundamentals are taught in school. That's traditional download model. But in the future, this entire thing is going to change. It's not a download model. I would even call it to some extent an upload model. So the knowledge base is going to be trapped or held at the AI level, and you don't need to download it, right? But you need to tap into it, right? You rather need to upload it through a prompt. So let's say if it's a scientist, right? He will be dealing with another co-twin of his, right? Who is like this 1000x scientist, and he has to know how to control that AI twin, right? That is the future model, right? Now that control is heavily dependent on inference techniques, cognitive skills on how you can interact with these AI models. And that's where the knowledge and that's where the advantage and that's where the career comes from, right? So it's shocking to see current entire model as I see it, like even our entire traditional model, parents are running behind school textbooks and studying these different things in order to pass an exam. Now, who has set this exam? The exam is actually set by a dominion where people think that this is the knowledge they should gain and this is the way of validating that knowledge. So that's the exam. There is nothing wrong with it. That gives a very good structure for the brain to grow and develop, right? But if you're banking on that structure for the future careers, for the future problems, then there lies the problem, right? So you got to rethink the entire model. Whilst you can continue with our traditional models and traditional education, it's important to denote that your child today cannot rely on that for future income, right? That model is going to change. So somebody somewhere has to look at these things, and as a dominion-based setup, starting with the people who are in power, the educational institutes, the people who control these institutes, the teachers, parents, then students. The entire structure, the vertical has to completely change in the coming years. If not, there's going to be a problem. But interestingly, I'm seeing China was one of the first to introduce reforms when it comes to AI education. US is following suit. They have started it recently, and the big countries are already doing it. I am quite interested to see how the other companies will catch up to it. But that's an urgent call which is needed today, because it's all about the future generation right now and how we are training and bringing them up. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing pans out. If you're interested in more videos like this, please subscribe, and most importantly, do share some comments, some feedback, and some topics that you would like to me to talk about, and I'll be more than happy to talk about it. Thank you.